Hey guys, hello and welcome. Welcome to lesson 71. I'm broadcasting here from my kitchen today while I'm preparing lunch for myself and my son. He's having a little nap right now. And the kitchen appliance in the background tells me I've got 6 minutes to do this before rice is ready, and then I'll be busy preparing the rest of the meal. So let's see what we have today. It's a nice and short and direct approach to, well, basically to the end of your possibilities to look for God's plan for salvation in time, and to come to a very reasonable conclusion. When we listen to God's plan for salvation for us, like, God, what is your plan for salvation for me? It seems rather weird to think that he will tell you a lot of things about you in time. Or to put it more precise, it's rather unlikely that the more you listen to his plan for salvation for you, he won't tell you more information about your spatial location and your spatial identity that you have assumed. So he won't shut your ear off, right, when you listen longer, but he will direct you to where he can be found and where he is. So we're not trying to listen to a lot of information coming from God, but we're going to listen to another kind of communication, and we're going to listen to another kind of assurance and confirmation and uplifting that he's going to give you, and that he's well, eagerly waiting for you to receive it. So let's see. I'm sure we've got 5 minutes before lunch is ready. Only God's plan for salvation will work. You may not realize that the ego has set up a plan for salvation in opposition to God's. It is this plan in which you believe. Since it is the opposite of God's, you also believe that to accept God's plan in place of the ego's is to be damned. This sounds preposterous, of course, yet after we have considered just what the ego's plan is, perhaps you will realize that, however preposterous it may be, you do believe in it. The ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances, okay? So also the idea of, God, let me hear how things will go on for me in my life, which means I'm not content with how things are right now, and I will need something, which means I'm actually in opposition to what I experience, and I want a change of circumstances and a change of persons within my dream for me to be happier. So this kind of asking would basically confirm that you want to continue holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. Thus, the source of salvation is constantly perceived as outside yourself. Each grievance you hold is a declaration and an assertion in which you believe that says, if this were different, I would be saved. A change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself. And as we looked at yesterday, the source of guilt and the source of your salvation is within your mind. And this is where we're going to listen today. The role assigned to your own mind in this plan, then, is simply to determine what, other than itself, must change if you are to be saved. According to this insane plan, any perceived source of salvation is acceptable, provided that it will not work. This ensures that the fruitless search will continue, for the illusion persists that, although this hope has always failed, there is still grounds for hope in other places and in other things. Another person will yet serve better. Another situation will yet offer success. Okay, great. Thank you for this confrontation, because you are to be confronted with the ego's plan so you can make another choice. So you can actually step out of slavery. Okay, this is not, oh, come on, don't take away my choice. But it is, oh my God, now it's dawning on me what I have been attempting, and that I have been so loyal to this fruitless attempt that I was basically blinded by my own loyalty towards an always failing plan. So now, thank God for this confrontation in my own mind. I have actually done that. I have waited for things to change. I have waited for the rice to be ready. All right, that's it. I think we've got a few more minutes so the rice can soak before we we actually discard this moment where we are focused enough to say, hey, I've been always waiting for the next moment to come. I've been waiting for the rice to be ready. But now I'm told that there is a totally different reference point, or let's say there's a totally different communication or word being communicated to me right now. And its attempt is to reach me now and to wake me up now, so that we can actually say, hey, your mind is willing enough and your heart is willing enough to be open for something that is unknown to limitation, but which is very well known to you, because you have not changed, and the word of God is familiar because you know him. Somewhere in your mind, you know him beyond the clouds, beyond all imaginations within perception. You know with 100% certainty who you really are, as the same and one with your source. Okay, such is the ego's plan for your salvation, to look in other places and situations and persons. Surely you can see how it is in strict accord with the ego's basic doctrine. Seek, but do not find. For what could more surely guarantee that you will not find salvation than to channelize all your efforts in searching for it where it is not? God's plan for salvation works simply because, by following his direction, you seek for salvation where it is. But if you are to succeed, as God promises you will, you must be willing to seek there only. Okay, welcome to a great experiment. Welcome to a great awakening in this moment. You have arrived, and you keep on arriving here. Otherwise, your purpose is divided, and you will attempt to follow two plans for salvation that are diametrically opposed in all ways. The result can only bring confusion, misery, and a deep sense of failure and despair. How can you escape all this? Very simply. The idea for today is the answer. Only God's plan for salvation will work. There can be no real conflict about this, because there is no possible alternative to God's plan that will save you. His is the only plan that is certain in its outcome. His is the only plan that must succeed. Okay, application. Let us practice recognizing this certainty today. And let us rejoice that there is an answer to what seems to be a conflict with no resolution possible. All things are possible to God. Salvation must be yours because of his plan, which cannot fail. Okay, let us practice. Begin the 2 longer practice periods for today by thinking about today's idea and realizing that it contains 2 parts, each making equal contribution to the whole. God's plan for your salvation will work, and other plans will not. Do not allow yourself to become depressed or angry at the second part. Don't be angry that your plans will not work. It is inherent in the first. And in the first is your full release. God's plan for salvation will work. Here is your full release from all your own insane attempts and mad proposals. to free yourself. They have led to depression and anger, but God's plan will succeed. It will lead to release and joy. Okay, so we're finding ourselves in an attempt to become more honest, and the light of our joining is strong enough and stable enough for you to say, okay, look, this is where I looked for salvation. This is where I looked outside myself for salvation. This is where I looked in time and in other people for salvation. And it actually was always to maintain my grievance. Okay, that's why I always failed, because I could never find release from a grievance when following a plan that was set up to keep the grievance. Okay, good. We are all in the same boat. Okay, here, this is a lesson in pants down, and let's see what we've got. And we all got the same. Yeah, it's all the same ego mechanism, structure, promise that we keep on following, and it may differ in form, and it does differ in form for all of us, but the underlying principle is really maintain the grievance by searching and not finding. Okay, let's drop this. There's something new coming in. There's a new communication. There's a new idea. Oh, and here we go. And this is the remainder of the practice period is for you to follow, because my little son is awake now. Thank you for this. Maybe just this. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What you have me say, and to whom? I thank you for tuning in, and I see you in this instant in God's plan.